Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of JB Adventures. So today episode is going to feature Bali, Indonesia. It's actually the first time me and my partner have ever been to Bali, and Bali is an amazing place. So how does this whole thing began? So to start the story off, Bali came up in a conversation just maybe a time ago, and of course it was winter in Australia. Winter in Australia or winter in any place, for some people very good, for others like myself, nah. I'm a tropical boy. I'm from the Caribbean. Sun, beach, music. That's what we like. Anyways, so my birthday was coming up, and my partner, she wanted to get me something. So here I am thinking now she's probably gonna get me some type of technology type of item, a device. And I was like, man, let me just, don't get too excited. I'm not really a big person when it comes to birthdays. But if you do surprise me, you did great. So it was, November 22nd. Yeah, that's my birthday when I was born. And I remember, she was telling me, not yet, not yet, not yet. I'm like, okay. So I just waited upstairs, patiently waiting to see, giving her the time to decorate, the proceedings towards the birthday for that big surprise. So I walked down the stairs and she has a big smile on her face, and I'm like, oh, I saw this big box. Obviously there was a nice birthday cake, and with, I think it was 30. Yeah, 30 was on it. Jeez. Yeah. I think I already getting old because I'm forgetting how old I was at that point. But yeah, the trip was in 2023, which was last year. So I'm 30 years old, sorry. So now, she told me make a wish, and I'm just there. So it's like, oh. So I took the box and I'm shaking it. She really did it well because she had the box really gift wrapped into one of these types of wraps here. Maybe a bit more pretty colored as well. But she wrapped it pretty nice. So I blew the candles out, said my wish. She's obviously recording me, and I was like, okay, let's see what's in the box. So now I'm excited. I'm like, bam. All right, let's get it. So I took the box now and I'm shaking. I'm like, oh, okay, there's something shaking in here. But let me just open it. So I'm just tearing through this box now. I'm tearing through this box, and it was a box within a box. So I'm like, huh? And she's there with a big smile on her face. So I'm like, something don't feel right. So now I fling the box away, tuck the next box that was neatly wrapped, going through it again. Another box, but a smaller box. So now I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So the boxes start to get smaller and smaller. I'm like, okay, there gotta be more boxes in here. So I'm going until I got to the last box. I unwrapped this box and she said, surprise, and it was nothing. And I just started laughing because I was like, dude, she just trolled me on my birthday, but it was actually well orchestrated, which was actually, it was very funny, I must say. She did really, really well with that surprise gift. Yeah, she really trolled me. But she gave me an envelope, and in this envelope was a ticket, a flight ticket to Bali, Indonesia. So I'm like, yo. Obviously I was really thankful and I was excited. And I was like, all right, we're gonna Bali probably tomorrow, like pack the bags and stuff. So I'm like, oh, we're going on this trip quick. Lord and behold, I looked at the date and it said April 2023. Right, sorry, I was 29 because that was my 30th birthday. So yes, it was in 2022, and we decided to go on Bali in 2023. So now my excitement went from hey to like this is 2023 April flight. So I don't get me wrong, everyone. I was really appreciative of what she did because to take the time to orchestrate how you're gonna plan someone's birthday or even a surprise for their birthday, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes creativity as well, and she scored lots of points for that as well. As time went on and we got closer to leaving Melbourne to head to Bali, we just decided we're gonna start planning different activities to do. Obviously I asked some friends of mine as well, who also they took the time to give us the details for driving in Bali, which was also, I was very thankful for that as well. And yeah, along this timeline, as it was getting closer, we tried making sure we organize, the pickup time, obviously the date we're gonna get to Bali. Do we need any items to take with us to Bali, just in case there's any emergencies? Because it's your first time going to Bali, so you just want to be prepared as best as you can. So with that said, it was the day of the trip, and yeah, it was time to go. So obviously we had a couple of friends, who decided that they're gonna take us to the airport, which we were very thankful for. And yeah, just getting in this last bit of conversation before the bye-bye, see you later to Bali. But yeah, I mean, look, were we nervous at first? Maybe a little, but it was actually our first couple trip internationally. We always talked about traveling together internationally to different parts of the world, not just domestic travel in Australia, which we've done a lot. So before checking, we stopped at a coffee place named Axel Coffee Roasters, a very small business within the airport before you go into departures. I recommend you guys stop there and have a coffee. I love my coffee and I rate coffee businesses, and that one for sure, 10 out of 10. Really nice coffee. So anyways, so we stopped there, chilled until it was time to check in our bags. So we got to the service desk, we checked in, made sure everything was good. However, we had to download an app that is recommended, or is a standard that you must do before you head to Bali. I can't remember the app's name, but yeah, everyone must download it before you head over to Bali or to Indonesia. So we checked the bags in, and now we are on our way through security into departures. So we're just walking through departures, looking around at the various stores, because where we were heading, we were actually heading to one of the lounges that are within the airport. Now, this lounge was the American Express lounge, and if you do have a credit card, I recommend getting a credit card that is part of the lounges within the airport, because when you go to the airport, sometimes there are delays and you may be stuck inside the airport for a very long time. So I do recommend, if you are a traveler, there's nothing wrong with getting a credit card, because I don't really like credit cards, but you know what, it came in handy, I must say. So looking back at the clip, I have the clip continuing. We're still walking, going there. It was a pretty long walk, and again, we were going to the lounge. So this lounge that we're going to from American Express is called the Centurion, and I must say it was a pretty decent lounge, and you do get your money's worth from it. So obviously we looked around a bit. You went straight to the buffet, the breakfast buffet, sorry, to just see what options they have that we can, eat something before we board the plane. There was this pancake self-server that my girlfriend was fascinated about, and I was like, yeah, all right, but I mean, self-serve, you don't gotta do it yourself. It's pretty cool, so anyways, but the pancakes were very flat, I must say. When I mean flat, as in it didn't taste bad, it was good, but it was flat as in its size. So after we got our breakfast, we sat down. I decided to roam more inside the sanctuary to see what other features it have. And yeah, we ate the breakfast, and then it was time to go on to our gate. So we went to the gate, and I must say there were a lot of people by this gate with going to Bali. I think I was a bit shocked by it because I always hear about Australians talking about Bali, how Bali is the tourist destination for Australians, and I must say it actually is, because on the news up to yesterday, they were actually making a, what's the word I'm looking for? They was actually making a popularity post about which country is the most tourist visited country for Australians, and at one point Bali was actually that place for Australian tourists. However, the new post showed that Japan actually is now the most visited country by foreign people, and Australians are actually number one on that list. So we sat down and we waited until it was time to board our flight. And again, just walking, going to the plane, it was a bit nervous, but it was like, I guess that nervous more excitement, because it's like, yeah, we actually going to our first international destination as a couple. So once we got to the plane, the line was long, because of course it was, again, Bali, but we were traveling on Qantas, and Qantas, I guess from my experiences, is not necessarily a bad airline to start with. People put a lot of heat on Qantas, but I think all the Qantas flights that I've been on have been served pretty well, and there were no issues at all. So we found our seats, we packed our bags up, and now it was time to go. And I decided to film us leaving the airport, because again, I guess that was part of the build up, to make sure that I capture all of the videos or the moments that I can whilst going to Bali. But you also saw certain planes as well, like Jetstar, for instance, and United. And then we have a next Qantas plane on the runway about to take off. So we got to the top of the runway, and it was time. If I remember correctly, my girlfriend held my hand pretty tight at this point. Maybe because she was nervous, but I had to look at her like, dude, seriously, you gripped my hand too tight. But it was in the moment. So we took off, and the good thing about going to Bali is that we're in Victoria. So we're at the bottom of Australia, and we have to actually fly through the top, going northwest to get to Bali. So there are some places that we did pass, and if you really watch the videos I'm going to show you, there's still a bit of land that you can see within the video. But what was good about this is that we did pass some parts of Western Australia, and I think Western Australia is the biggest state within Australia. I could be wrong, but it was actually nice to see before we actually got over the ocean. So that's just me just being an idiot. We're just watching movies to just buy time whilst going to Bali. So looking through the window, it was still a lot of land, and I was like, dude, when are we going to see the water? But then I remembered that it's a pretty long trip, maybe 3-4 hours from Western Australia to Melbourne, and now is when I'm actually starting to see water. So I'm like, okay, we getting there. So now it was like, okay, we say we're close to Bali, and where's the land? So now I'm seeing the land, I'm like, yo, and just looking from up top, in the plane looking down, it looked awesome, man. It was different for sure, you can tell. So I just obviously we're decreasing in altitude, about to land, and here we are landing in Bali, and the landing was a bit rough. You just went like like that like if you drop in a pothole, and I remember like a lot of things just like dropped to the floor on the plane as the landing was very rough. But we made it safe to Bali in Indonesia, and I can't wait to show you guys the footage of the activities and the environment, just the area of Bali. Again, first time in Bali, tropical place, and it was very excited to start doing art. Yeah, it was just very excited to just get to where we're supposed to get to, which is to the hotel, and you know, see what Bali has to offer. Very religious place, very respectable place. So if you're going to Bali, please note that it is not your country and your culture. Respect the culture of Indonesia. That's all I have to say. But look forward to the other videos.